Personally, I don't believe in bribing. Neither do I get bribed. I don't believe in that.
The case of Wango Drift.
Flashlight TV, welcome back. Today we are privileged to have our guest, Mr. Samuel Wambua. I hope he can introduce himself.
My name is Honorable Wambua Samuel Musyoke. I come from Mwea. This is my home. I belong here. And I'm a teacher by profession, having retired last year and rebranded as a politician. An aspirant for the seat of the MCA, Mwea Ward. So I would wish to let you know me. Please, it's important that you get to know that I went to schools in my local area, Malikini Primary School and Riakano Primary Schools. Thereafter I went to Wambua Secondary, after which I went to Riakano Secondary. Thereafter I proceeded for my A-levels in Karori High School in Embu. I did some untrained teaching in several secondary schools like Riakano Secondary School and a few primary schools before I proceeded for my teacher training college in Shanzu, Teachers Training College in Mombasa, where I trained as a P1 teacher. Thereafter I was posted to the former Embu district, currently Beere South, in Kiambere, where I taught in a few primary schools before I came back to Kamuyende, Malikini, Kaseveni, EIC Ndingini, and ultimately I proceeded to ACK Kilia Primary School, where I was transferred a few years, like 4 years ago, 2018, to Igembe Central, that is Meru County. Along the way, as I taught in my previous schools, I also went to the university in Uganda, where I pursued a Bachelor's of Education. Thereafter, I also pursued a Master's in Education, 2012 to 2014, Mount Kenya University in Kenya. I'm a married man, married to one wife, 2 children, a daughter and a son. I'm a Christian. I also do some side hustles. I do some little farming. I also do some charcoal business. And that's me. Yes.
Okay, nice, Mr. Wambua.
Yeah.
You can see you have a good professional CV kind of something.
Thank you.
Okay, now tell us how is community development related to education, because that you have been in education, you also learned, gone to various schools, even abroad and outside the country. How is community development and education related?
Thank you very much. Community development and education are part and parcel, because an educated community is a developed community. First of all, let me talk about education itself. That in every community, every society needs good and high quality education, because it makes them abreast with the world. And this is a community that knows where it is headed. Good schools, good education for the community, learning people within the society, they are a light to the community, they show the way forward, they guide the community. They also aspire the development of this community. So you cannot separate actually development from education. Development comes mainly and in a very better way when you are educated. A community that has gone through good schooling and well educated will always have good development. They will have the ability to ask even for their rights as far as infrastructure is concerned. They will ask for good roads, motorable, or weather roads. They will demand for good health care for their people because they know they are right, they are educated. They also ask for better agricultural practices and even agricultural reports, which will actually make the production of the agricultural crops and other agricultural practices become successful. So a community is backed heavily by the education that it receives. If you want to kill a community, just deprive them or deny them good education. That is a community which is as good as extinct. You have done away with it. But providing good education, quality education to the community, that is a community that you are good to go as a future. Thank you.
And do you think like in Mwea Ward we have proper?
In my view, we are not that badly off. But the history of Mwea is interesting as far as education is concerned. There were these who would talk of very serious scholars from Mwea. Then there came a time when it appeared like education was not given the amount of attention it ought to receive. And basically this one goes to leadership, because leaders are the light of the community. When the leaders in a community fail to give the way forward, especially on what kind of education the community should receive, you definitely don't expect that community to have good education. So in my view, as far as education is concerned, we need to do a review and transform the education to come to the levels that we want. Because we cannot compare with some places which were far much behind us in the 70s, in the early 80s. Today, we are quoting some counties. We are even comparing ourselves with the small worlds which were backward as far as Mwea was concerned. So education in Mwea needs a lot of attention. It needs a leadership that is concerned, a leadership that knows what they want for their people and for their children, because children are the future of the society.
When you talk about leadership,
yeah,
are you talking about political leadership or a leader? Because in Mwea we can also have a leader who is the Ministry of Education, CS of Education, or you are talking the political leadership, an elected leader to lobby whatever in the Ministry of Education to just improve the education sector. Which leadership are you talking about?
Thank you very much. Basically, the world over, leadership, which that is perceived to be actually showing the way forward in most cases, is the political class. The politicians are the ones who give the direction of the community where they are headed. We cannot talk about spiritual leaders. Those are basically to build our spiritual nourishment, and you just settle there. There are also traditional leaders, like in UK where we have our Excellency, not our Excellency, our Majesty really, the Queen. She's there, it's a traditional monarchy. But come to Kenya, and particularly in Mwea, where we are coming from, Mwea ward in Embu. The political leadership has the mandate to bring people together, parents together, board of management together, because it's an elected leader. By extension, you are the custodian of all developments, and education is not out of it. Bring these people together, let them understand that you want good education for your people as a leader, and these people will follow the way that you show, because people believe in their leaders in a very big way. Again, political leaders who are elected, people have a lot of trust and expectations from them, and they believe in them. So if you want to mislead people, you can. If you want to take people to better ways, you still can do that. So in my view, because the patrons of education in a ward is the member of the county assembly, backed up by the member of parliament and the other stakeholders, it is upon such people who are leaders to bring other stakeholders on board to ensure that the education of the community comes out well and they receive the best education ever that they can afford for their people. Thank you.
Okay, you have served in various departments in the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
I know. And also committed that you have served there for a long time or short period. Have you driven any initiative that concerns the community as a professional in the Ministry of Education that brings the touch of the community as you are there in those departments? What initiative you have brought to the community so that they can see a piece of leadership in you?
I think that's a very good question, Eric, and I want to say this. As a teacher personally, in the classroom, I always made sure that the subject that I taught were performing very well. Doesn't matter whether the others are performing or not performing, but I made sure, and this one is in the record, in all the schools that I went and taught, that whatever I taught was performing. That is one. Two, when I was given the responsibility of being a deputy head teacher and eventually a head teacher, the schools that I headed were different from many others. Not because of anything, commitment and self-drive. I know my job, I know my obligations, I do it without being pushed, I don't have to be reminded, I don't have to be supervised by anybody. And the schools that I've headed, starting with AIC Lingine, where I went in 2007 up to 2010. It's a school I found very down, and I brought it up with the rest of the teachers because I believe in teamwork. I believe in bringing others on board, the parents, the board of management, the teachers themselves and the children and other stakeholders, because this cannot be a one-man show. For you to succeed, you must bring others on board. And again, you must make sure that you give each and every person that you are working with an opportunity to display his or her best attributes in the area that you are really moving on within that society. So these are schools that have done very well, have excelled very well. Thereafter, I proceeded to SK Kelia, which you call Mahali, popularly known as Mahali. The school was very down. By the time I left that school 8 years down the line, in 2018, as I proceeded to Meru, the school was the best performing public day school in Embu County. People do ask, what is it that you do in these schools? Simple. Allow each and every player to do their work. Encourage them. Allow teamwork. Don't be a supervisor. Just be a team player. I'm the captain of the school. Others are also, they can also perform it better than me. Give them an opportunity. Even where I retired last year, in June, Nyambene Wesley Boarding Public Primary School in Igembe Central. By the time I was leaving that place, the school was number 31 in the entire Meru County. That is a public boarding primary school. And we had registered very high grades. And I can assure you that wherever I go, I do my best because I don't have to be supervised. Thank you. Again, before I exit that area, I was also elected by teachers as their director in a circle of their own. By then it was called the Embu Teachers. But later in 2010, 2012, thereabouts, we rebranded to Winners Circle. By the time we joined that circle, it was really struggling with disbursement of loans and even fulfilling its financial obligations. Today, this is a circle which can be banked on because we have several branches, if I can name them. We have the main office in Embu. We have another branch in Kiretire. We have another branch in Shiara, another branch in Runyenjes, another branch here in Mwea, which was opened last year, January, and doing very well. Another branch at a place called Mtugovare, another branch in a place called Chicago, that is the youngest, and another branch outside the Embu in Matu. Those are 8 branches that were opened while I was serving, and I'm still serving as a director in Winasam. That shows that we can grow our people, we can bring services to our people, we can make them develop, both economically, socially, and all that other aspects.
You say those branches were open the time you were in the leadership?
Yes, by the time I went to SACCO in the year 2003, we were housed in a very small house in Embu town. But today we have constructed a 3-story house, ultra-modern office for the branch, which is opening soon, earlier in March, because we are doing the final touches. These are some of the things that have happened while I was there and while I'm still there. I should say not me alone, but of course I talked about teamwork, collaboration, and acceptance of other people's abilities, because you can never be everything. Thank you.
Talking about the circle and the thing, we know how we heard about the challenges which the teachers face actually in the very south, in the community in general, or south parts of the county, with the hardship allowance. Have you addressed the hardship allowance concerning teachers?
The hardship allowance that teachers receive is part of their collaterals. They use it to borrow money, to get loans, but we have also had a challenge, especially after the delocalization, which is also being referred to as the nationalization. When some of our members are transferred to places which are known hardship areas, they suffer the loss of the hardship. But of course, as a circle and as a board, we understand these things and we know how to push on them during that difficult time. Otherwise, teachers are doing well, and not only teachers, it's important to mention this, that Winners Circle is no longer a teacher's affair. It is actually all of us, farmers, fishermen, traders, border borders, they are all members there. Yeah. And they patronize all the products, and the circle is doing well. They say it. It is them who say it. Yeah. Personally, I don't believe in bribing. Neither do I get bribed. I don't believe in that.
The case of Wango Drift.